about to get real, keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts Cody Tanner and Jill from Ohio, a.k.a. the Pittsburgh Daughter. Nick unable to join us this morning, but how are you guys feeling? The whole NFL draft is over. We've got some undrafted guys we're going to talk about today. We're going to recap the whole thing, but really focus in on these guys we haven't talked about yet. Jill, give me your whole view. Where you at? How you feeling this morning?
As expected, it did not go how I thought it would. Shocker of the year. There were some names that came through that made me raise my eyebrows. Like, I don't even know who this person was, weren't even on my radar. There were some names that made me scream out loud because I was so excited who we're going to talk about today. Which is just a Pittsburgh typical draft, I suppose. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like Omar Khan has done a good job in drafts prior. So I feel like it's easy to trust the process. Like if we're bringing in a name we haven't done research on, there's a reason. They do everything for a reason. It's not just a happenstance. It's intentional when they pull these guys in. So I'm feeling pretty good. Cody, how you doing today?
I'm tired, but I am doing good. It's not often that, actually, I don't even know if it's ever happened that Pittsburgh has drafted a playmaker that I've wanted. You know, oftentimes it's been lineman or linebacker, like, you know, the positions down in the trenches that sometimes I get right or you know, have a good guess on or whatever. But this time, obviously, we'll talk about a guy that I've wanted, but someone else brought up first, and we'll get to that. It's very exciting. We all wanted him. It's like probably the most exciting I've been about a draft pick in a while.
I think he's our most mocked one too.
Hands down. But it was exciting. I'm sad we lost 2 picks technically in the grand scheme of it all. We only drafted 10 guys instead of 12. But it was still very, very, very exciting. James, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It was like Christmas weekend for me. I just love this stuff so much. So it's always fun. I love seeing the names. I was a little embarrassed that the third round came around. There was a guy I was unfamiliar with. I thought that was way too early for there to be guys I was unfamiliar with. But then, you know, we get to the last pick in the 7th round. I was like, I know this guy. All right. So you get the highs and the lows. My quick, like 90-second reaction on this was that, you know, I had high hopes for Pittsburgh nailing guys from 2 positions that I thought had elite talent. And they ignored both of them, one of them completely and one of them until the end of the draft. The middle linebacker room, I thought there were some very serious, talented guys, very highly athletic with great size. We ended up not drafting any middle linebackers at all through the whole draft. And then the safety position, there was some elite talent also, and we didn't address it until the 7th round. So I wasn't a fan of those 2 things, but some of these other guys that they took I thought were absolute home runs. So the fact that I see a couple things as strikeouts, but a couple other things as home runs, it kind of balances out. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, and collectively, we hit 6 out of the 10 that they drafted.
It's not bad.
Over 500, you know, if you look at it that way.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Tomlin all over again, baby. Here we go.
Oh no, we're not right in the middle, Cody. We're effect. Oh
no. So we're gonna recap the beginning all the way to the end. So just gonna briefly touch on these guys from the earlier rounds that we've covered on our earlier shows, just to make sure that we're doing our due diligence here. So first round was the offensive tackle, Max Ihanachor. Maybe the most athletic offensive tackle in this entire draft class. He has the prototypical size, what you're looking for, the 6'6", 320 pounds, the length of almost 34-inch long arms, which might even be better than that because, again, we had a lot of guys measure a little shorter in the arm length at the combine than they actually were. So we've got good arm length, not elite, but not bad either, definitely good enough. And a guy that moves really, really well. So this is a piece that even if for some reason you don't march him out there as a starter right out of the gate, let's say Broderick Jones is 100% healthy, Fatanu's 100% healthy, everybody looks good. If this is your sixth offensive lineman in those goal line situations, my Lord, is that an incredible sixth offensive lineman. But I have a feeling that this is going to be very similar to the Troy Fatanu situation, where he comes on the field and they immediately say, well, this dude is too good to not get on the field, so we're going to make sure he's a starter. I mean, Troy won the job over Broderick Jones right away, and they were trying to figure out what to do with Broderick Jones. And I feel like Max is kind of going to do the same thing to Broderick, where he's too talented to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
The guy's a tank. The guy, we talked a lot. If you want to hear the full breakdown of him, we did a day one recap. You can go back and watch that video or listen to that podcast. But he's going to come in and probably have an immediate impact. I don't see there's any way that he's not starting. Even if Broderick comes in healthy, I think this guy could potentially outplay him if they were both 100%. So
I wouldn't be surprised to see him like by week 4.
Yeah, I'm interested to see when the bye week's going to be.
Yeah.
Because that bye week might tell us if he's not starting right away when he's going to be moving into the starting lineup. But then the flip side of it also is the injury to Broderick Jones. We don't know where he's at in the recovery process. And there's such mixed reports out there that, you know, it could be a complete non-factor with Broderick. He might be riding the pine trying to heal up. So we don't know. But one thing we do know is the excitement level when this second round pick got announced when they traded up for it. Jill, I'm going to let you take the floor on this. This is your guy. You drafted him first.
I did. In the second round, we went with one Jeremy Bernard. He was a wide receiver and just incredible. I mean, when we're looking for that wide receiver 3, he's got everything. He even has potential to be your future wide receiver 2. Not sure about starting wide receiver, but he is so physical, which he'll fit perfectly in with Pittman and DK. I've said this since the get-go. He is a fantastic route runner and can run the whole entire route tree that you need him to. He is not as fast. He's still quick, but he's not like your Calvin Austin super speedy guy. But he reads defenders really well, and he runs those routes so well that he'll find the space to make those contested catches and then fight for yards after. I am super excited about this pick. It makes me very happy that we went. I mean, I think a lot of us did this where it's like trenches first, receiver next.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, I'm like really pleased that the Mekhi Lemon thing fell through because this is the receiver that I wanted. So I was very pleased with this. And I'm excited to see how he develops through training camp, through preseason, and to see him on the field. Because I think you will immediately see him on the field this season.
Yeah. Nice gadget play guy too. Can line up in the slot, can do end arounds as we're seeing on YouTube right now if you're watching. Even has taken some snaps from quarterback position. So we'll see what happens, or wildcat, I technically should call it. I'm excited for this guy, and he'll definitely see a lot of game time in preseason.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, like you guys said, he's going to be tough to keep off the field during the regular season as well. I think one of the things that excites me the most is our 3 wide receiver set. The small wide receiver is now 6'1", 206 pounds. And the ability of a guy that size with how physical he is, we see it on tape here with him breaking tackles. I love his change of direction. He's so good at switching field in the middle of a play and then having everybody in chase mode all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm ecstatic about the thought of him going after safeties in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to march 3 wide receivers out there. We already know the size and the presence of our 2 starting wide receivers, but the third guy is big enough that he's going to be able to handle a safety one-on-one. And that was a real issue in the run game for us because that box safety comes up to go stop the run. And if you've got 162-pound Calvin Austin, he just couldn't handle these dudes. They were just blowing them up. And then it was blowing up the run play, and the running backs got nowhere to go. And now you're on 2nd and long. Now you're on 3rd and long because of it. That's not going to be a thing with Jeremy Bernard. He's not going to be blown up by these safeties.
Yeah.
He's got that physicality in the run game where I think he's going to be an asset really, really quickly on it.
Yeah.
And you're talking almost 15 pounds heavier than Mekhi Lemon. So you're getting that much bigger, that much stronger of an individual for that third wide receiver position. And I think it's just tremendous pick.
Yeah.
Maybe the least favorite pick for all of us, though, is the next one with Drew Aller, the first pick in the third round, quarterback out of Penn State. Cody, do you want to go first on this one? Do you want me to go first?
No, I'll go first. I mean, here's the thing. Here's where we're going to start with this guy. I was very upset with just seeing how he even reacted to the pick. I like he did not want to put on that Pittsburgh Steelers hat. I understand you've been a lifelong Browns fan. I understand your family owned season tickets, but you know what? You have the honor, the privilege, the opportunity to go play at the highest level. Be happy about that, man. Holy cow. I think he's going to come in. I'm worried about this pick, in all honesty. And there's a lot of times we try to stay positive outside of me being negative Nancy on this podcast. But let me tell you something. I'm going to struggle being positive about this guy because of that reaction. That's a mentality thing. That's a maturity thing. That was a bad look for me. And I mean, even he posted a video they posted a video with him, the Steelers did, from just outside his family's house, because he was like saying, like, let's go, or here we go. That here we go was the most pitiful here we go I've ever heard in my life. The guy has talent. Obviously, we've talked about him being a potential first rounder last year until the injury, the crappy offense, his head coach got fired, all these things. Yeah, we'll see what he can do. That's where I'm at with it.
I mean, I've wondered about that with some of these college guys, because I'm like, I can't imagine being in a position where you grew up hating a team and then you have to go play for them.
Yeah.
Like, I really can't fathom that. So I feel like I give a little like grace, because I'm like, if you grew up hating them and then you're now playing for them, that's a hard mentality switch. So I am worried in that or that aspect of it, of like, but at the end of the day, I kind of like what you were saying, Cody, of like, it's showing a lack of maturity, but he is just fresh out of college. So the lack of maturity is going to be there. So we need to make sure that and at the end of the day, it's a job. So he'll either mature up and realize he's got a job to do now and put that first, or the immaturity will show through on the field.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for the first one, where we are realizing this is a professional job and like, this is your dream job. You're in the NFL. You have potential to be a starting quarterback for a franchise. I'm not sure. Again, this was my worry, and I voiced it on almost every single show that we've talked about. My biggest worry was that we were going to take a quarterback higher in our draft. I mean, we all knew we were drafting one. There's no reason you're bringing in 4 quarterbacks for pre-draft visits without drafting any of them. Or it could have been a big smokescreen. I don't know, but it wasn't. So, and so I'm just worried about next year, because if Rodgers comes back, which I can't believe we're still here, that could be a whole nother show on what the heck is Rodgers doing again to us, making us look idiotic at this point. But like, we draft a quarterback in the 3rd round that has some high value because it is a higher value pick. What does 2027 look like? Are we going to march Will Howard out on the field? Are we going to march Drew Aller out on the field? Is it going to be Mason Rudolph? Like, I just don't know what's going on this season. And we need to see quality snaps out of Will Howard and out of Drew Aller to see who could be the franchise quarterback. And if we need to do that in 2027, or if we found them in one of these guys, it feels like so much gambling. So, I mean, I like Drew Aller. He is extremely athletic, one of the better quarterback picks. And so out of all of the ones that we were talking about, arguably he's the best pick for us. But it's just so questionable if this is the next guy. And if Rodgers comes back, we're not going to see the playing time that we need to. Or we'll see development. I don't, you know what?
Yeah.
We won't see it. I mean, it's going to be in the behind the scenes stuff.
God, I hope so. I hope so.
There's lots of questions with this, no doubt. I tried to warn everybody, don't expect Pittsburgh to get out of the 3rd or 4th round without a quarterback. And so I wasn't real surprised. It was earlier than I wanted.
I wanted 4th.
But it was one of the guys that we talked about, right? This is one of the real scenarios that we thought could happen. The highlights of Drew are awesome. The lowlights are scary.
Mhm.
But again, like even Cody mentioned there, how much of this was the coaching staff that was so bad they were fired midseason? How much of this is wide receivers where nobody's drafting wide receivers from Penn State the last couple of years because none of them are any good?
Mhm.
So we've got a little bit of a combination there of he wasn't getting good coaching very clearly. He didn't have good targets other than the tight ends and running backs as far as the passing game. So it's tough for me to be too down on him. Although being a diehard Penn State fan, I've seen a lot of throws from him that just were very frustrating for me.
Mhm.
So I'm excited from the perspective of the kid has all the physical tools. He's got the size. He's got a very strong arm. He's a better than average athlete who went out of his way to make himself a better athlete between the 2023 and 2024 season. He
Mhm.
dedicated himself in the offseason, got in better shape, and got quicker, and it was noticeable on the field during his 2024 season. So I think there's some upside with this kid, and I think that this level of competition will be extremely healthy between him and Will Howard. I mean,
Mhm.
they're college rivals. Now they're fighting for the starting quarterback job in a professional atmosphere. I'm not as worried about it being a maturity level with him on that response as much as just an emotional response of, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I think he just let the moment be natural. And I don't necessarily hate that. Now, if we still have a negative, like nonchalant attitude coming from this kid a couple weeks to a month from now, then I'm not going to be happy with it.
Mhm.
But the initial emotional response, I'm not as worried about. Yeah, we're going to see, if Mike McCarthy is truly a quarterback whisperer, like the rumor is of him, he now has two guys that are high profile, that are the physical size that he's looking for, that have the arm that he's looking for, that have requisite athleticism, that can get out and scramble a little bit if they need to. There's no excuses not to be able to develop one of these two guys. So
Mhm.
let's get them to work. You got some weapons for them. You got some offensive linemen that are really talented. And I think there's no excuses not to be able to develop one of these guys.
Yeah. Agreed.
Next guy was the guy that none of us had any idea who he was.
So let's talk about him a little bit. Dalen Everett, cornerback out of Georgia. Uh, I guess he probably should have been a little more on our radar because Georgia is the only pro day that both Omar Khan and Mike McCarthy went to.
Mhm.
So they obviously had a very, very close eye to what was going on there in Georgia. And it's a tall, athletic corner with excellent speed. A 4.38 40-yard dash is an incredible top end speed for this kid, one of the faster corners in this draft class. Um, all around very good athlete and very physical as far as a tackler and against the run. So I'm excited to see if he gets a chance to play in the nickel as our slot corner.
Mhm.
If not, and he has to sit and develop, I'm very confident in our starting corners. And I like the way Joey Porter has developed the last few years. So hopefully our coaching staff can work with this young kid and maybe make him the bookend of Joey Porter down the road. But even though it's somebody who wasn't on my radar, what I've seen of the kid, I like.
Yeah. Very fast closing speed on out routes, very fast ability to catch up on routes where he kind of lets the route run and then sees where the guy's going and takes off. He has a eye for the ball. This is him if you're
Mhm.
watching on YouTube. Pick up a fumble. He's very aware of both where his guys are, where his potential, like in zones and stuff. Not only where the players are, but also where the ball could go, and he reacts accordingly. And
Mhm.
it doesn't, even if he reacts incorrectly the first time, it doesn't put him out of the play. If he shuts down, the long ball, he still breaks down on the short pass.
Yeah.
Freak athlete, excited for this pick, even though he wasn't on anyone's radar outside of obviously Pittsburgh's.
Mhm.
So excited for this guy.
Yeah. I like that he's quick to change direction too. Like you were saying, Cody, like he's reading where the play is happening. And so he's sitting in those spots where he can make quick changes to follow where the play's at or follow where his assignment is going. And it's not like I'm gonna like stutter step. I'm just kind of it was like it's all very decisive and quick. So I like that type of play.
Yeah.
And then our final pick on day two was one that we were pretty excited about. A guy I
You change
labeled the
names.
Mauler with a mullet. So Jennings Dunker, former offensive tackle from Iowa, who's played a little bit of guard there as well, played almost exclusively at guard at the Senior Bowl during the practices, and even in the game played some guard. That's exactly how Pittsburgh sees him. They introduced him as a guard. He's going to compete for the starting left guard position. I'll be stunned if he doesn't win it. He's got the best mullet that Pittsburgh's seen in the history of Pittsburgh. And he's just like a big, strong country boy who doesn't think the play is over until the guy he's blocking is on his backside. And I love that mentality, and you're going to see it if you're watching on YouTube. It's play after play. Any play and run protection, man, he's burying his guy, and then he's jumping on top of him afterwards. So that kind of mentality is going to be extremely effective for us. He's got the physicality. He's 33.5 inches on his arm length, which is awesome arm length for a guard. And it would be adequate, really, if you're going to stay outside a tackle, but elite as a guard. So I love the thought of this guy. He was one of the guys I mocked and somebody I really liked in the pre-draft process and was hoping for. I never thought for a second we'd be able to get him this late in the draft.
Yeah, I was surprised at how late he actually went because in a lot of our mocks, it was early third. Like you had to make sure you had him by like that first pick in our third round. And so for him to fall to us when he did was like at that point in the third round was pretty great.
Yeah.
And again, build in the trenches. I keep saying it. There was fun. Like I saw a video from I think Le'Veon Bell where he was talking about how important it is to have guys in the trenches that you trust because he was like, yeah, I can see gaps and I can see things, but they made it possible for me. He was like, I talked with the guys at Len, like, I want to run it this way. I want to make sure like this, I'm doing this. So I need you guys to do this. And so to have guys on your line who are able to not only hold the defender, but create the gaps for our running backs to explode, our wide receivers to do what they need to do. Again, I just sound like a broken record, but you build in the trenches and then your star players can make the star plays. So,
yeah, I mean, this solidifies the potential starting offensive line for the foreseeable future for Pittsburgh. I mean, this could be a 10-year run with these guys. So I'm very excited because I feel like Pittsburgh's been at its best, at least in my lifetime, when there's been a consistency in that offensive line room. You know, people will talk all about the playmakers and things like that, but the outstanding thing that has always been there is the number of Pro Bowlers and All Pros on that front five.
Absolutely. When you look at the last two Super Bowl victories, you had some really stalwart offensive linemen, and when it started falling apart again afterwards, it was because the offensive line had fallen apart. So that has a lot to do with it. And I love the investment, you know. Now we look at this starting unit, and if we want to lump Broderick Jones in there just for the sake of argument, we can. We're talking about 3 first-round picks on this offensive line, a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. That is the level of investment they have made in draft capital in just the last 4 seasons now. And most of that coming in the last 3 drafts. So I'm ecstatic about the investment. I'm ecstatic about the return we've gotten thus far in most of these guys. And I think that these 2 that they drafted for the offensive line this year are just, as our Jill would say, chef's kiss. Like this is just, these are some ballers here, man. But as excited as I am about Jennings Dunker, Caden Wetjen, Cody, you want to take the floor? You want to be the first guy to talk about Caden?
I don't, because it wasn't my pick. Joe, go ahead.
All right.
Well, one, we've been pronouncing his name wrong. It's
Wetjen. It's Wheatjen.
It's Wheatjen.
Wheatjen, yes.
So my apologies, Caden, because I know you listen to us. I know you've been tuning in because you just knew you were going to be a Steeler. So, but yeah, Caden Wheatjen. Oh my gosh, my jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. I'm so happy we got him when we did. And I know people are probably up in arms because it was too early and he would have been there. I'm glad we took a chance because I don't think he would have been there. I think he would have been off the board. We've been talking this whole pre-draft process about how we are lacking in the kick return game. And we need to do something drastic and dramatic to change that. And what a way to do it. I am so pleased. So pleased. And we talked, I mean, he's not going to be your immediate wide receiver threat. He is there because he is amazing at kick returns. And so your immediate threat on the field is going to be see him on special teams. I think we can develop him into more. He is on the shorter side. But incredible athlete, just the speed when he decides to go is immaculate. It looked like an AI video, one of his kick returns. He was so incredibly fast that you're like, this surely can't be real, but it was. It was not an AI video. So I'm so excited that we invested this early in somebody who can absolutely change the game for us on special teams, especially when we've been like last in the league for some of our yards, like after receiving a kick. It's just pathetic. And so to get somebody like this to change that, yes.
Yeah. Dynamic playmaker, dynamic kick and punt return game. This is a guy that's going to come in and have an immediate impact in special teams. This allows you to get any kind of starter running back off of that. We saw Jalen Warren doing that too much. Don't get me wrong. Jalen Warren was fantastic. He was amazing.
Yes, but he shouldn't.
But he's your starting running back. Even if Rico Dowdle's your starter now, like it's going to be a 1-2 punch. I don't care. I don't want to see Jalen Warren back there. I don't want to see Rico Dowdle back there. I don't want to see a starting cornerback back there. I don't like. Listen, that is a backup position in the sense of from your skill positions. It is a starting position on the team. Of course, but this should be a backup player doing this, and this is a perfect pick. This is the pick hands down that I'm most excited about.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
Yeah, what a splash playmaker. You know, he really jumped out at us during the college season last year. And I said, you know what? I didn't realize.
He jumped out at James. James brought him up. Don't let him be humble right now. Gosh.
James brought him up.
You know, I saw some of his returns. You know, I've enjoyed watching some Iowa football over the years. Penn State fan by nature, but, you know, it's tough not to enjoy watching some Iowa football. And I said, man, I thought Cooper DeJean was already in the pros. Who the hell is this white kid returning these punts and kicks that's just as fast? I don't know what's going on here. So that's when I figured out they had this wide receiver return man here. And you know what I love about this kid is like some of these guys coming out that are super explosive, super quick, great change of direction are just too small.
Mm-hmm.
He's 5'9", which you would think, oh, man, that's too small. He's 193 pounds at 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
He's a well put together kid. He's strong. In these arm tackles, you see on these highlights that Cody was showing us here, he doesn't get taken down by arm tackles very easily. Now, granted, at the NFL level, everybody's bigger and stronger, so some of those are going to be successful against him. But obviously, the body of work that this kid has already put in indicates to me he's probably going to continue to get stronger as he goes into the pros. And I expect him to still be able to break through a lot of these arm tackles. And man, is it exciting to know that anytime somebody kicks the ball to us, that kickoff coverage unit is just going to be kind of crapping themselves before the ball is even in the air. The coach is going to throw in extra pieces of gum like Danny Smith used to because how nervous you are. And yeah, they're going to have to do all kinds of extra homework, and they're going to be so stressed out on their kick coverage units because we got this dynamic dude back there returning kicks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a home run. I don't care that it was the 4th round. We talked about this before the draft. You know, Cody and I both mentioned we thought he'd never make it out of the 4th round. You better get him in the 4th if you're going to get him. Cody insisted during our live mock, hey, let's try to draft him earlier because we know he's going to go earlier. He's not going to be there in the 7th round. 100% right on that, Cody. Had to get him in the 4th round. I don't think if you waited till the 5th, he would have been there.
Nope. No, what an explosive way to start day 3 too. Like, holy cow. And then you go right from that to another guy that James mocked and James brought into the fold here. Freaking a guy by the name of Riley Nowakowski, just an absolute tank of a human being. Listed as a tight end, 1,000% gonna get all the play time at fullback. I mean, he might line up at the tight end, but this is a blocking, spectacular dude. Just a freak of nature. Excited to see what he can do in the black and gold. And James, this is your guy. Talk about him.
Yeah, you know, watched a little Indiana football at the end of the year. They were obviously on that big run on their way to a national championship. They had a running back by the name of Kalen Black that I thought was incredible. And this guy sometimes was a lead blocker for him and sometimes was lined up in line as a tight end. And I said, man, this looks like an upgraded version of Connor Hayward right here. He can play both positions. So I tried to take really good notice of his run blocking reps while lined up as a tight end because I wanted to see, could he actually hang? Can he actually block these defensive ends and outside linebackers? Or is he just out there and is he kind of not able to fill that role like Connor Hayward was unable to fill the role as an inline blocker? Dude can absolutely block inline. So I think you've got a multi-purpose guy here who can effectively run block as a tight end, even more so effectively as a fullback. He fights for every extra yard. He breaks arm tackles, a very physical player. And at 6'2", 250, he's well put together. Not an ounce of fat on this kid. So clearly has spent plenty of time in the weight room. A 4.66 40 is very good speed for a guy of that size too. Not elite, but definitely not slow. So I think you could have a lot of fun with a guy like this. This is a great multi-purpose tool where you can line him up in multiple different places, and gives Pittsburgh the best fullback that they've had in a long time, probably since Rosie Nix, who did get to at least 1 or 2 Pro Bowls while he was with the Steelers. But I love the versatility of this guy, and what really made him jump out the most for me is the way he fights for extra yards after the catch. And that's what I want in every tight end. And we have it in Freiermuth. We have that in Darnell. We've got that now in Riley Nowakowski too, and I'm excited to see him play.
Man, I just love that we have all these big offensive threats. Like, who wants to block us at this point? No one. No. I'm like, when you've got the wide receiver room that we have, you have the tight end room that we have. We look great. I'm feeling every Steelers fan should feel so good right now. Like
this feels like what Ben Roethlisberger talked about on his podcast, where you build a team and then you add a quarterback to it, and that's I mean, this is a team. At least on the like, don't get me wrong, the defense is still good, and I'm excited for it, and we've added pieces. But this offensive side of the ball, holy cow, this year's going to be explosive. I mean, it has the potential to be explosive.
It has potential.
Yes.
And the word that was saying every time he announced somebody saying that we'd be soon to be 7 champions, I was like, speak it, Cam. Speak it.
All comes down to the quarterback. As long as we get good quarterback play this upcoming season, the weapons surrounding him are great. And then a refurbished offensive line who was only a piece or two away, just got 2 awesome pieces.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the 6th and 7th round guys here. The 6th round was another name on it that we were unfamiliar with, Gabriel Rubio, a defensive tackle / defensive end out of Notre Dame. I love that he wore 97, just like Cam Hayward. He's dang near that size too, at 6'5", 320 pounds, 33 5/8 inch long arms, which is very good length for a defensive tackle. Put up 26 reps on the bench, so he's plenty strong as well. Didn't play a lot in his senior season last year. He had a bunch of injuries that kept him off the field. And this is not somebody that you should expect to get after the quarterback a lot, but extremely stout versus the run. Very, very strong, very good at holding the point of attack, very good at stack and shed. And that's what we're looking for. We wanted another defensive lineman to come in there and compete with Y.A. Black to give a strong second unit. We see him batten down a pass there. That's a beautiful thing for the black and gold. We love that. But yeah, we wanted somebody that could get in that second line with Y.A. Black, with Sebastian Joseph Day, that can provide good run stopping capabilities, so that when we're playing the Baltimore Ravens, when we're playing these teams that are run heavy and you have to sub out your starters because they're getting tired, you're not getting your butt kicked. No, this is a guy that's going to allow you to not get your butt kicked in the run game.
Well, and that's the core of our identity. Like we talk about, like a lot of the defensive identity is our takeovers, but it's also stopping the run. Like we were called the Steel Curtain for a reason, you know? And so when that's the core, and, you know, not to go too much into this, but like you think about just the core identity of the Steelers, and it was the 70s Steelers that pretty much define our team, our city. It was very evident. I mean, even at the draft, when they had a Pittsburgh basement that was completely like straight from the 70s with the TV and the yellow couch and everything. And so when that type of identity runs through the core of your team, you need to draft players that are going to step up to that and be that defender to stop the run, to do their stack and sheds. Like that's the kind of guy. And that was around the same round that YA Black was drafted, right? Wasn't he a
I
fifth or
want to
sixth?
say he was 5th, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So you're still getting your same, like that same level talent to compete with each other. So I thought that was a great pick for the Steelers. Even though he was nowhere on my radar.
Nope.
Not a clue.
Yeah, but by the 6th round, I don't think we had too many people that were left on our radar.
No.
I had a lot, but that's just me, apparently.
Cody, any thoughts on Gabriel before we move on to the final 2 picks?
No, just I mean, this is the lump of clay you're talking about. This is a big
Yep.
guy. He's got some stout ability to defend the run. He's got the ability to, like you said, block and shed. If he gets a year or 2 with Cam before Cam's gone, he can learn a lot. He already has the ability to get his hands up. He's already decent at acknowledging when he gets a chance to chase down the quarterback. He knows just be disruptive. He throws his hands up in the air and says, blah, blah, blah. He gets in the face. He does a good job. He's probably not going to catch him, but he does what he can. So I like to see the effort and the excitement out of the gameplay.
He puts his hand up and does what?
Yep, you heard me. La, la, la.
One more time for the people at home.
La, la, la.
There we go. Now we're having fun. Another fun one here for us. The first 7th round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers going to be a gentleman by the name of Robert Spears Jennings. As we alluded to yesterday, some of these guys were combine meeting guys, and Robert Spears Jennings was one of those. At the safety position, 6'1" and 7/8", so dang near 6'2", 205 pounds. Ran a 4.32 40-yard dash. So he is lightning fast for a safety, one of the fastest safeties in this entire class. A 1.51 10-yard split means that acceleration is extremely fast as well. A 35-inch vertical leap, a 10'5" broad jump. The explosiveness is all there. A guy that is a plus athlete, a physical player, a box safety more so than a free safety, but has the athleticism to cover space very easily. I'm excited about the potential. We haven't had these developmental safeties really that much lately. Last year, we get the undrafted Sebastian Castro. This year, we take a 7th round flyer on a super athlete who's got great size. This is what you want. This is the guy I want on special teams. I want him running down kick coverage and punt coverage. This is the kind of dude that forces a lot of fair catches because he gets down the field so fast in punt coverage. And then maybe, just maybe, you can develop him into a starting safety down the road. But in the meanwhile, I think this dude's going to be electric on teams.
Well, that's your immediate impact. You'll see him is on special teams with that speed. Exactly what you're saying. Like, he is going to be running down the field, making sure that it is all fair catches, which we love that.
Oh, yeah.
We need that.
Yeah, even coming down and playing linebacker in a nickel or dime situation, potentially, if you want to have a little bit more speed in that area. Obviously, Peyton Wilson's capable of that. Not sure if we have another linebacker that can be that speedy. But this is a guy that, again, lump of clay and very fast lump of clay. You can't teach speed. You can't teach that kind of stuff. So excited to see what he can do. It does look like he's gone up against a lot of option plays. It looks like we're seeing a lot of potential, quarterback keeper, stuff like that. And that's going to come in handy against the Ravens, no matter what. And also potentially be good against the Browns if they wind up using Taylon Green that way, because they got Taylon. So a lot of potential with him from obviously special teams, immediate impact, but then potentially mold him into a phenomenal safety / linebacker combo, depending on what we need him to do.
Yeah, and you love a safety with that kind of speed and height, because a responsibility of safeties a lot of times is covering tight ends one-on-one. Well, when you've got a 6'2" safety with that kind of speed, size, and physicality, we see all these highlights Cody brought up for us, and he's a real physical dude against the run. I like the thought of him being a tight end eraser. When you're going up against that team that has a tight end that's kicking your butt, bring him in as the slot defender and have him just exclusively cover the tight end. I bet he can handle the role. He's definitely got the size and physicality for it. So awesome potential with a kid like this.
Yeah.
But maybe the most heartwarming pick of all of them.
It was heartwarming.
The final 7th round pick here, a gentleman by the name of Eli Heidenreich from the Navy. He played running back, he played return duty, he played wide receiver, and he's from Pittsburgh.
Mount Lebanon. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this kid. He ran a 4.44 40 at 6 foot, 198 pounds. Very explosive here, very electric. And my goodness, this is an exciting guy. I didn't have this on my bingo card, but this is like the upgraded Max Hurlman from last year's preseason. Maybe a poor man's McCaffrey here. It's just, I don't know, man. This kid might make a little noise.
Yeah.
He's definitely got some potential.
The speed, the ball awareness on pass plays. Obviously, Navy not known for their football necessarily. But the thing that excites me most about that is this is a guy that's going to come in and go to work. This is a guy that's going to come in and be a leader in his personality, in his off the field presence, in his locker room presence. And I'm very excited. I was very confused. I pulled up the draft a little bit after they announced the pick, and I was like, okay, we're giving. What are we doing giving a 7th round draft pick all this attention? And then I realized he was a local boy and all this stuff. And, mad props to him for being there and excited for him what a blessing, what an opportunity to be drafted in your hometown, to your home city. And the welcome he got there. Even at that point, the draft was winding down a little bit and there were less and less people there, but wow, they gave him a glorious welcome home.
Yeah, it was quite. This is typical of a Steelers draft. I feel like there's always some moment where it's either there's a bloodline, there's something with the hometown. There's some kind of connection that's heartwarming. And honestly, it made up for the Drew Aller response. You know what I mean? Like you have that type of emotional reaction to then watch this as we're ending the draft. It's like, let's remind Pittsburgh what we're proud of here, like what's the heartbeat of our city, what's the heartbeat of our team. And I felt like it really showed Pittsburgh's pride in being from here, to the whole NFL. Like it means something when you come from Pittsburgh and then you get to play for Pittsburgh. And just like the weight of that. And so, like I said, it's the opposite of the Drew Aller response. Like I feel like he's going to be emotionally and mentally invested. You go through the Navy, so he's got discipline.
Yeah,
he's going to be very focused in that, and I feel like that can add eliteness and potential for his ceiling to be pretty high here, and then to have that emotional investment as well, of like, this is my hometown, this is my team that I get to play for, like my whole heart's in it. So
yeah, what an exciting player. When we get to see the tape on this kid, he's running away from people left and right, lining up as a receiver, lining up as a running back. He's done some kick return duty as well, and I think it's going to be tough to not have this kid on the roster. In fact, I think if he gets a couple of shots at kick return in the preseason, you're going to see him being the starting kick return man opposite of Caden Weegen. It's going to take some adjusting to get this last name pronunciation correct on Caden here. But I think you got a couple of guys of similar size, of similar athleticism. And Mike McCarthy alluded in the post-draft press conference that a guy like this allows you to really open up the playbook. So this is fun. This is fun right here. Eli is a fun pick. And so we got our redneck, we got our guy from Pittsburgh. Like it's a complete draft. But every draft follows up with some undrafted guys that get brought into the team. So we've got a couple of those guys to talk about. Only 5 of them reported so far as of this morning. I'll actually check that while we're talking about these guys to see if the list has been updated at all.
I just checked right now.
Oh, okay. First one being a slot corner / safety by the name of Devin Boykin. He's 5'10", 192 pounds, and ran a 4.64 40-yard dash. So this is going to be somebody to come in and compete for that slot corner position, which is always a huge question mark for Pittsburgh. We never seem to know who the heck is going to be in that role. So now there's one more name to look at in that group. and not a crazy size, not crazy athletic numbers. But if you've got experience in the slot, you don't have to be necessarily the greatest athlete in the world. We saw that from Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton was an awesome slot defender. He was not the greatest in coverage, but he was awesome against the run. And sometimes just being good short area quickness and being tough against the run is the most important stuff. So that's our first guy on the list here, followed up by a tight end named Luke McCray. Luke is 6'4", 243 pounds with a little bit shorter arms of 31.5. Ran a 4.79 40-yard dash. Honestly, the tape, he looks a little bit quicker than that 4.79. A receiving tight end that doesn't have a lot of blocking chops, but that's due to the lack of size. I'm sure he can put some weight on the kid, but we needed more bodies in the tight end room to compete because there was only going to be 4 of them on the roster before these guys.
Yeah.
So an important name to add more so for the position than anything else.
Give people some.
Yeah, because you're not going to play Pat a lot in the preseason. You're probably not going to play Darnell a lot either. So you need to have some guys out there on the field.
Right.
And I don't know that you're going to be playing Riley Nowakowski a ton at tight end either in the preseason, as you would expect him to make that final position. You'll get him a good burn, but you don't want him playing late into the fourth quarter, and you're going to have some 2 tight end sets. So you need to have some more guys on the roster.
Yeah.
So why not a guy that's got good receiving chops if we can develop him on the blocking side of things? That could work out quite well for you. Next dude from a size, weight, length perspective is everything Pittsburgh looks for. A defensive lineman by the name of Kevin Jobity. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all. It's Jobity. 6'4" and 4/8, 308 pounds, 33.5-inch long arms, a 5.05 40-yard dash. So he's got the size, the length, the athleticism. Not super strong at 22 reps on the bench, so he probably needs a little more time in the weight room. But decent athleticism, he could probably play 3-4 defensive end for us. And with that kind of length, you'd expect him to be able to get off of block. If he's not good at doing it now, he could definitely be coached up because he's got the length to do so. So I think you got the right frame guy. Sometimes you see these defensive linemen they bring in or guys at certain positions where you say, man, he's just too small. There's no way he's going to make it. And I don't say that with this guy. I think this guy's got the size. And if he needs to spend a couple years on the practice squad in the weight room, do it. You never know what you might be able to develop him. This defensive line room is going to change over in the next couple of years anyway. Maybe he can be a contributor on the back end of things.
Right. Can't coach the measurables. So
Nope, that's for sure. Got a kicker by the name of Laith Marjan, 6'2", 205. I don't know that Laith is going to make much of an impact, but he'll get a lot of practice time in the preseason for sure.
Yep. A healthy break for Boswell.
Well, right. I was like, Boz just has another year on his contract. So that was interesting to see an undrafted kicker come in. I mean, good for depth piece, but Boz for president.
Yeah.
In Boz, Boz for president. Boz is our MVP. Almost bought a Boz jersey this weekend. We love Boz here.
She met Pittsburgh dad and completely forgot about jerseys.
Listen, everything went out the window. Shout out Pittsburgh dad. You're welcome on here anytime.
Right. So I like it from a perspective here that Pittsburgh always brings in a backup kicker every preseason. You get a chance to let Boswell rest a little bit during the preseason, but also they seem to have a good eye for these guys because a lot of these kickers they bring in end up starters for somebody else down the road. And one of these times, one of these dudes is going to be good enough in the preseason and somebody else's kicker is going to go down and their backup's going to suck. And we're going to end up getting a draft pick in a trade for one of these guys one of these times. It's just going to end up happening because if you cut them, then they have to go through the waiver process. And if you're not high in the waiver process, you're not getting the kicker. So I could see this happening beneficially for Pittsburgh at some point. We expect there to be a punter that's an undrafted guy brought on the team as well because there's only one punter right now in Cameron Johnston. And then final guy that is reported as of right now, Shaman Matire, a tight end from Arizona State. Stop me if you've heard this Arizona State thing before this weekend. And he is a bigger tight end, 6'3" and 7/8, 262 pounds, 33.5-inch long arms, and a 34-inch vertical and a 9'10" broad. So a big, strong blocking type tight end. And all these guys coming from Arizona State this weekend, that's where Hines Ward's coaching these days.
You know.
So,
The connections are there.
yeah. Does that have something to do with it? Absolutely, it does.
100%.
Yes. Absolutely. In Hines, we trust there as well, So
Yeah.
we know what we're getting in the character of some of these guys. So if you're looking for a guy to be able to allow you to execute your run game in the preseason, this guy should be able to hold up as a blocker on the end of the line. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a lot of burn in the preseason just because he's probably going to be an effective blocker and allow you to actually evaluate the running backs on the roster when you run power to the tight end side.
Yeah.
So
something else we can always trust is that when you go to the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, you will have wonderful, wonderful food and an amazing atmosphere, especially if it's for the Pittsburgh Steelers games. As they play Renegade, they wave their towels, they have a good time.
Absolutely. Steelers by the Lake is sponsored in part by the Edinburgh Hotel Bar at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh, with a full menu including daily lunch and dinner specials and a family-friendly, smoke-free environment. Details are available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com. The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had me at hotel.
What a great time, the Edinburgh Hotel. I will try to get home to watch a game there, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But super excited for all these draft picks. If you guys have any thoughts to share with us, feel free to comment or message us on social media. We'd love to see your thoughts on these draft picks. Who did they hit on? Who did they miss on? And who did we not draft that you are just so upset about that we did not draft Dylan Thieneman? And then we'll share it on the podcast. We'll talk about it. We'll absolutely engage with you guys. So we can't thank you guys enough for being here. Make sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews in Apple Podcasts. Make James and all of us here on Steelers by the Lake Podcast very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James, Cody, and Joe from Ohio, signing off.
Peace.